Hello, my name is Edward Otis. I'm president here at Edie Farrow Company. Let's talk about rental forklifts. What do you need to know to rent a lift truck? Let's start with the lowered height of the truck. The lowered height might be the overhead guard. It might be a light on top of the overhead guard. It might be the lowered mast assembly. You want to keep that in mind so that your rental lift truck is properly sized to go through any doorways, any rack bridges that you have, or any other height restrictions within your plant that truck needs to go through. So keep lowered height in mind. Fork length. As a general rule, you need your forks to support at least 2/3 of your load. So you may need longer forks or shorter forks, something that will be properly sized for the load that you're picking up. What fuel system do you want for your truck? Do you want it to be LP gas, such as on this truck? Or would you prefer diesel fuel or an electric lift truck? Capacity. Capacities are generally from 3,000 pounds to 26,500 pounds. With the capacity, you may know how much you're lifting in weight, but it also is important to know the load center of what you're picking up. If the load center of your load that you're picking up is farther out than 24 inches, in other words, the center of that load is 24 inches away from the back of your fork space, then you're extending that load center and that decreases your capacity. So if you have a load that stretches out 60 inches in front of the forks and you've got a 4,000 pound load and a 4,000 pound truck, you actually don't have enough truck for that load. So you want to make sure that your dealer helps you with the calculations to know what size truck is going to pick up that load, especially with those longer loads. Maximum fork height and free lift. How high do you need to lift something? Know what that is. Also know that above 12 feet, most lift trucks will start to derate in capacity. In other words, if your rental truck will lift 4,000 pounds, it'll do that to about 12 feet, and then as you go higher, it'll derate in capacity. So it may lift 3,500 pounds to 11 feet and 3,000 pounds to 15 feet. Whatever that is, your dealer can help you with that information. Free lift. Your forks and your carriage and your load backrest are on the front of your truck. Free lift is how high you can lift the front end of this truck or your forks without any part of the carriage or load backrest or inner channels of the mast rising above the lowered height of the mast. That's what your free lift is. In general, on a triplex truck or a 3-stage mast, that would be about 55 inches or so. With this truck, with this load backrest on it, as soon as you start lifting the forks, the first thing that's going to come above this area right here is the load backrest. So with this particular setup, you've got about 2 feet of free lift before you pass that point. You want to make sure that your lift truck that you're getting is properly sized in terms of being able to turn in your aisles. Can you turn from one aisle into another? You want to keep in mind any plant-specific safety items that you may have for your plant. Do you need to have a strobe light? Do you need to have a backup alarm? Do you need to have headlights? Any of those items or accessories that are specific to your plant, make sure that you advise the rental house that you're talking to that you need those, and that way when we're supplying that rental, we can get the truck equipped properly for you. Another thing on your lift truck that you might want to consider is attachments. You may need attachments to properly use the lift truck. That may be something as simple as a side shifter on the front of a truck to move the forks side to side, or it might be a side shifting fork positioner, which would not only move the forks side to side, but also position the forks properly for how wide your load is. You may need more specialized attachments such as a paper roll clamp, a carpet pole, a jib boom. You may also need something like a fork liftable man basket. Whatever you need as far as attachments, make sure you describe that clearly to us when you're calling in, and we'll get you the right lift truck. Specifically for renting LP gas trucks, keep in mind, how many LP tanks do I need? If you have your own supply of LP tanks, perhaps you don't need any. Perhaps you just want the one that just comes with the truck. or perhaps you need a spare in case that first tank goes empty. For electric trucks, generally you're going to get a battery with that truck to power it. Do you need a second battery because you're running multiple shifts? Do you have the changing equipment to change out that battery? Also, you're going to need a charger. Will you use your own charger? If so, what type of connector will you need so that you can connect the truck battery to the charger? Do you want to get a multi-charger because you're not going to be having to charge it a lot, but you're going to need to add a little bit of charge to it? Or do you want a properly sized charger that you'll need an electrician to wire in because you're keeping the truck for a longer period of time? Another thing to keep in mind is, will your floors support the weight of your lift truck and your load? This is especially important when you're engaging in operations like loading and unloading tractor trailers, or if you're in an old plant with multiple floor levels and wooden floors. What will be the rental charge? That depends on how long you want to keep your lift truck for. So identify your best estimate of how long you're going to need the lift truck for, and find out what those rental charges are. Also, what are the delivery and pickup charges for that? And do you have a dock, or will you need to have the equipment unloaded to the ground? With many rentals, you may not be responsible for paying for maintenance charges, but you are responsible for pneumatic tire damage and other avoidable damage fees. Are you or your operators trained to operate the equipment that you're renting? Keep that in mind. Here at Edie Farrow Company, our value to our customers starts with our people, our products, and our productivity. Our people are at the best at analyzing materials handling and forklift applications, and we've been doing so since 1934. Products, we provide best-in-class products. And people, we help our customers improve their operations. Good luck with your materials handling.